And we are live. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. I always want this to be like that kind of Battlestar Galactica when
When the
the
Vipers,
Vipers take off.
I never watched the remake of. I'm an old school Battlestar Galactica guy. When Dirk Benedict was
Sure,
Starbuck.
absolutely. The new one's worth watching. It is worth watching. It was kind of fun to watch along with it because it was so much like, ooh, what's happening? It was kind of a imagine how people watch Lost. It was probably something similar to that. But I don't. No, I tried watching the old one again recently, and rose tinted glasses are required.
Yeah,
Uh,
I bet.
yeah.
Well, at least it's not Battlestar. What was it? Or Galactica 81 or Battlestar?
Yeah. I think space motorcycles. Let's have a space show and film it somewhere in the valley. Um, but Dan, before we get too into the 13 tribes of men, who the hell are you?
I am Dan Taylor. I am a dungeon master and creator of D&D content, tabletop role-playing game content. Many started, few finished. That will be on my tombstone. uh,
Well, you have some stuff cooking up. I know that. I know that much.
yeah, and I've got more stuff cooking up. I just can't, I can't stop getting those burners going. But yeah, and then who the hell are you?
I the hell am Steve Conley. I write and draw the webcomic The Middle Age, and I make TTRPG content like Intoximancy. It's for 5e and 5e compatible games. I saw that as a tag when I was in a Michaels. They had in their book section they had some D&D books. D&D books. They had books that were compatible with 5th edition games. It was like a very vague, like not world's greatest role-playing game, which is kind of the thing, or world's most popular is the one I use. But they're very vague about which 5th edition game. There aren't many. The 5th edition of Monopoly. I'm pretty sure they mean the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. But I make TTRPG stuff like Intoximancy and Death Dealing, which is shipping now. These are many boxes that are going to the post office today. These are like the super boxes with like multiple books and decks of cards and such. This one's going to Joseph Davies in Milwaukee. So thank you, Joseph. And then my next one is called Prayer's Handbook, the Metadomain Cleric, which people can check out at Prayer's Handbook. Over 200 people queued up for when it launches. I don't have an ETA for that yet, just because everything's got to be out the door before I do the new one. That's just it's super important to me that everything is shipped before the next one starts. Otherwise, I feel like you fall into a trap of, I don't know, it feels weird to promote the next thing when you haven't delivered the last thing.
No, I agree. And just this morning, I sent out a notification on Star Marshals because there was a printing glitch.
Oh, no.
So, and it's my fault. I just didn't. I'm not good on the technical aspects of getting the files put together. Great. The original first run the test print that I did that I showed off with the 40 pages or so, the physical turned out great. So I kind of went by the same way, but apparently I messed up somewhere and it just wasn't good enough. So, and the printer I'm using kind of takes a little while to get stuff going. And so anyway, I sent out a notification. I've been working all morning on getting that. And then, with the cons and the conventions and stuff, things, notifications on where stuff was happening and where I was kind of lost. So,
sure.
So I'm getting on that. Everybody should have Star Marshals by Christmas.
Yay.
And I'm going to come up with some sort of new physical bonus reward.
Don't do that. Don't fall into that trap, Dan. It's too easy. You'll create more stuff. I was thinking about that myself. This stuff is the Death Dealing is delayed. Absolutely. It was later than I wanted it to be, but the cards took longer than I thought to get back from the manufacturer. They came back 1 month ago, and they were supposed to be back months ago. So I've been delivering all that stuff. Gamehole, burst water pipe. I'm just tired of telling people about all the problems I'm facing, whether it's a hurricane or a burst water pipe. I would like there to be a season without a deluge of some kind, but I feel like I don't want to be the boy who cried flood. It's like
no, I agree. Yeah.
So, but I've been tempted, like, oh, maybe I should put all sorts of extra stuff in these packages. I'm like,
It's just going to be something that I probably already made,
Oh, good.
You know me. I've got, I mean, because all this stuff's already made, and I didn't, so I made an abundance of it, of all the add-ons. So, and that didn't, people didn't, they didn't go out the door as much as I thought they may have. So, I'll just basically upgrade. Let's say you were getting the button, and now you get a button and a sticker, and then the person who was getting a button and a sticker will get a patch on top of that, so that sort of thing. So I'm not coming up with anything new or.
Gotcha. Because I know you have I really could do a capes. I could do
Yeah.
capes.
I want to get those. Remember those old Star Trek toy helmets with Spock in the light? I want Star Marshals on that. Yeah, you can send those out to everybody.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, so that's it, and that's one of the reasons why I hate doing crowdfunding, is because these kind of things mess up, and I feel like I kind of feel like a turd. But it happens.
You feel like you let people down.
Yeah, but I haven't gotten a lot of pushback on. Nobody's asked where the hell the comic book is. So I think maybe people just know my MO, and they're like, we'll get it when we get it.
I think they also know that crowdfunding is a thing where, I mean, partly it's sad state of affairs, but partly it's at the point where, in some cases, where they're just happy that crowdfunding delivered it all. You know what I mean? It is, the bar has been lowered by so many people. I think it makes people trepidatious about jumping on the crowdfunding. There's tons and tons of crowdfunding happening right now. Monty Cook and Goodman Games, Legend of Evantris just wrapped up their $4 million campaign. We saw them talking about their project at Gamehole Con. They were the folks who had that booth in the hall, like in that dealer, what do they call it? Demo row. $4 million campaign. And they were all over Twitch. They were streaming the whole time. And there's another Kickstarter. It was called Natural Six. Was that the name of it? It's a new actual play. I want to say it's folks from the UK or Europe. Group of 6 friends going to play Dungeons and Dragons together. It's like, it's almost like the stock standard description of what actual play is. But I watched there's episode 0, entertaining. But I'm almost at the point where I feel like people are looking for, this is for people who want the next thing that's not Critical Role. I feel like there are fans who are like, Critical Role was, this isn't your slightly older brother's actual play show. This one's yours. So really interesting that they're very similar in tone. This one's very, you might like Natural Six in that it's all theater of the mind.
Yeah, I do appreciate that, because again, technical aspects, I don't want to figure out virtual tabletops and
yeah, they fought this monster. It all takes place in the graveyard. The DM was very clear about distances and relative to positions of people flanking each other. No minis, no board. The sets were very austere too. It was kind of like, was it Charlie Rose? It was all black background, or Kevin Pollak's chat show, just a black background, and the characters are just the people just sitting there. So low tech, but they've got a Kickstarter, or had a Kickstarter running to raise money to do an actual play. So maybe that's in the Catacombs and Creators, or Catacombs and Comedians future.
Yeah, in fact, I just got a text from someone I'm meeting later today to discuss a streaming of Catacombs and Comedians. So
excellent.
That was that. I don't know if you heard that little beep, or I just looked at my phone, but yeah. So hopefully later today, I'm meeting with someone, and we're going to discuss. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with Catacombs and Comedians. I've got that. We're going to try to, because like I said, I want to get a streaming show, established streaming show of Catacombs and Comedians. We've tried to launch something before, but with comedians, it's kind of difficult, and
sure.
And the schedule wise is one thing, and then these are, the comedians I've get are, I'm not getting Patton Oswalt and Bill Burr and Taylor Tomlinson and
yeah, sure.
So a lot of them are laptops on kitchen countertops and things like that. So
iPhone 1.
Yeah. I mean, so they're not streamers. So I'm kind of, I'm reevaluating. I'm trying to come up with something more, because, when you're you're going to be compared to Critical Role, and you're going to be compared to all these other things. So you got to have something more, some sort of quality. I'm not bashing anybody I've worked with before in any of my comics, but it's just the nature of the game. So I'm gonna hopefully meet with this person later, and we'll discuss things, see what can come up with that. But I've been going back and forth with Gary Kahn to set up a Catacombs and Comedians Presents Catacombs and Creators show there. So that's in the works. It looks like that might very well happen. Because I'm talking to a whole different person than I was talking to at Gamehole Con. So I'm like, well, talk to so-and-so. They, I've already, so I got to get that all straightened out, but I'm working on that. And, so that's the status of Catacombs and Comedians right now.
That's awesome.
If
that's
that
awesome.
Makes sense.
I had a note to talk to you about that maybe after stream. I will before we log off and before I head to the post office. I want to chat with you a little bit about stuff. We'll figure that out. But so I'm still jazzed from Gamehole Con. I left the show. I feel validated in a way that and also a little intimidated by the quality of work that we saw there, the level of people. It made me realize just how small the business that business is. I don't want to call it industry. I don't know what it is that world is. The world of creators are the idea that Zeb Cook is walking around the hall and all these other creators are just walking around the hall. Maybe Gamehole just gave me a very distorted view of things. It's like that old poster of like the New York view of the world, and it's like Long Island and then New Jersey, and maybe it's that sort of thing where I'm totally messed up.
You see the Arch of St. Louis, and then
exactly right, the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
It could be completely distorted, but I just so impressed by the quality, but also inspired because some people are doing stuff which is so DIY, very bootstrappy, and they just have an idea and they're going to make it real, and they're so excited, and it's good. There's a lot of you look at things from the point of view of the fizz bands and all these other WotC products that are just so glossy and
Steve Conley products.
Well, that I was holding myself to that standard. I'm not saying I shouldn't. I'm just, I feel like I've not tried to emulate what they're doing. I'm still trying to make it goofy in my own way. But the way people embrace that kind of sense of humor, I think that's good. I think it's going to be good for the little sneak peek you gave me of the zine you're cooking up, which I thought was excellent. It felt like if me and my friends were sitting around a table and this was the game thing that they had, it was in front of us, we're like, yes, go on.
I actually came up with that idea at Gamehole Con.
I think you told me, you said, hey, I just got a domain name.
Yeah, I got the domain name, and I'm making it, what I shared with you, and I think I may have shared it last week. I can't remember.
No, you kept it.
Oh yeah, I was still working on it. So yeah, I mean, it's called Post-Apocalyptic, and it's pretty much a zine, and I'm keeping it very zine-like, black and white, like it was almost printed at your photocopier at work and stapled together type of look, and because that's what zine means to me. I mean, you have your zine, which is a gorgeous book worthy of the Smithsonian, and then I like these fact sheet 5 type things.
Yeah, but Morkborg and Mothership and all that stuff we saw there, very much like, well, that's what I saw about Gamehole Con. I had the nice hardcover version and I had the zine version. People are like, give me the zine. Give me the cheaper option, right? We just want the content. All that glitz and schmance that I've put on top of that is irrelevant to does it play at the table, and it's just all like gloss.
Yeah, and all the images I'm using for this, I subscribe to various commercial websites where they say here's stock images.
Which one do you like?
I like Free Pick, to be honest with you.
Okay.
you know, and so I'll take those and I'll modify them and move them around and stuff. I'm not using any AI bullshit.
Good man.
But you know, I'll take something and very simple, kind of, you know, add it, because I mean that image of the Sasquatch on the cover of Post-Apocalyptic Crypt, that's combined of 3 different images, I think.
That's great.
Even though it's pretty much a silhouette type of thing. That's just the Sasquatch, the ruins behind it, the flying saucer, you know, the title and all that. You know, those are all the elements, and that's why I didn't have it ready for you, because I was working on it last Sunday morning or Saturday morning, but that's coming together. I got my 5 playable races, I think, in that.
Wow.
5 or 4. Well, let's go through them. There's the Chupacabra.
And is this a 5e thing?
Yeah, it's just going to be 5e because I know 5e. I mean, it screams Mutant Crawl Classic.
Right.
But 5e is what I know, and I just want to bang this out real quick. Not to get it. Yeah, I mean, to get it out of the way so I can get onto my other things. But it's just a fun idea. So I've got my Chupacabra, I got my Sasquatch, I got my Mothman, my Wendigo, and my Jackalope. Those are the 5 playable races. So it's just going to be real simple. I'm just going to do, you know, here it is. Here's the races or species. Here's the classes. Here's some weapons, and it's Gamma World, you know.
Right.
I'm not going to add all these rules and stuff, and I'm going to just pick up your player's handbook for D&D. It all works the same. So
that's excellent.
Yeah, so just something real simple, real fun, because I thought of another zine. God damn it. You know what domain name wasn't being utilized yet? Okay, now there is, and I don't know how much I'll follow through with this, but I think it'll be fun to create some consumer confusion. Ooh, consumer confusion. That's another good title. And probably get me a cease and desist letter, because you know I love collecting those. Kickstarter has their zine quest, right?
How
about if I do a zine that's called Quest and just call it Quest Zine? Kind of like Dungeon, where each issue has its own adventure, you know.
Yeah.
One little adventure, self-contained adventure. So I'm working on that now too, because now I own questzine.com.
Nice. What is it, Zine Quest?
What? I don't know. I didn't even bother looking.
That's funny.
I wonder if I'm sure it takes you to the Kickstarter Zine Quest page, right?
Yeah. That's very good.
And then I worked on 420 this week.
And the role-playing game.
Or 4D20. Yeah, and the role-playing game. I worked on the 4D20 role-playing game this week. And then, you know, it's been mostly an administrative week for me.
That's great. I think I've wrapped up the covers for the Meta Domain Cleric for Prayer's Handbook. I'm really happy with them so far. It took me a while to get there. I'm new to the painting thing. The sculpting I've been doing for the last year and a half. Kind of taught myself how to do that. Coming on 2 years soon of sculpting, and then just painting, using that, kind of sculpting my own reference for paintings. But I did something different with the lighting in this one, and it messed me up. It wasn't. I kind of do regular 3/4 lighting, which is basically on your face right now, which is perfect because it's like you come in at the nice angle. It's nice strong lighting from one side, and then a little bit of blue lighting, very very Hildebrandt Brothers on the side to kind of pop the figure forward. Really dramatic, really simple. I can wrap my head around that.
Dramatic.
And the cover I was doing here is more like how I'm lit right now, very evenly lit. It's not dramatic, and I had real trouble with it. It's very flat. So it took me a while to figure it out, but I think I'm pretty happy with it so far. I think it's done. I say that knowing I'm going to tweak a few things, but which makes it closer. So as I wrap up shipping these boxes out, then I'll be able to hopefully launch that real soon. I need to have a few things in there. I'm sculpting this week on Twitch. I started sculpting one of the monsters, which is called a grognard.
I saw some of that.
Which is, I felt really good about that stream. It's here on Twitch at Steve Conley, twitch.tv/Steve Conley. And basically taking it from concept. I didn't know what I was doing at the beginning of it. I'm like, okay, he's got a backpack. It's much more of like stocks, basically me at a convention, or both a amalgam of everyone we saw at Gamehole Con in a single creature. But it kind of evolved through some sketching, and so far so good. I like it. I think it's a large creature. I think it, and it's silly. It fits with metadomain. But the big thing for me with the metadomain campaign, the Prayer's Handbook campaign, is cooking up the other stuff that goes with it. I really like the simplicity of just having a book and a zine and a sticker. Like, I know the size boxes I need for that, and a mini. I know the size boxes I need for that. Anything else, a card deck, which I did for death dealing, if I do something else with this, it messes everything up. I needed basically a box for every kind of configuration of thing I'm sending out now. So it's a headache. I can understand why you're like, I don't know if I want to do crowdfunding. I don't know if I want to do the fulfillment myself. All that stuff is like a real bear. And part of it's like packing these things up thinking, wow, it's, someone likes my work. This is it's validating that someone liked my stuff, but
or felt obligated to support you.
Guilted. Yeah, I'd take that.
Because we talk every week. So
I'll take guilt money. Sure. Or it's a sort of thing where they've led very horrible lives and they're trying to make up for it. I guess we've covered that with the previous thing you said. Just real bastards, and they're trying to make up for. They've said horrible, mean things to me, and they're feeling really bad about it.
Yeah.
But the idea it's that line Andy Runton was quoted as saying about comic conventions. I want to make comics. I don't know if I want to be a traveling salesman. I want to make games. I don't know if I want to be a fulfillment center. No,
and that's been the hardest part, because I mean, I've got this huge pile in my garage of boxes of the Star Marshal stuff waiting to get out, but one snag with the printing and delays in communication, and I'm darn it, and when you're a one-man operation, I wish I'm not knocking my wife, but I wish she was a little more enthusiastic about my creative endeavors, because I could put her in charge of everything and it would get done.
You went from a little more enthusiastic to running everything in the span of one sentence.
Yeah. Have you met my wife?
There are no, I've not yet. There are those partners which are quite kind of astounding in their in the partnership. In that, I think Jeff Smith and Vijaya. I don't know if I've ever heard a name spell out loud. Vijaya Smith, and I think David Peterson's wife is very much involved in planning and helping fulfill things and ship things. It's very much a partnership like that. I think that's it's astounding when that can happen. A lot of other spouses I know in comics are like, they don't want to go to the conventions. They don't want to they don't want to have anything to do with this, whatever this is. It's like you're in a band and they don't want to hear your songs one more time.
Yeah. I mean, my lovely, beautiful bride books comedy clubs for a living. I mean, that's her job. I play Dungeons and Dragons comedy shows in comedy clubs. She has never booked me in a single club, which is fine. We're keeping it separate. She does,
that church and state thing's probably pretty healthy. Yeah. So,
she'll, like in the Star Marshal, she kicked in, she made a pledge, but not for any rewards, because she doesn't want any more of this crap that I create.
It's already there. It's already half hers.
Yeah. So. It's her. It's half her problem.
Yeah, I get that. That's fun. So I have to come up with additional items for this campaign. The kind of thing, like I do like the idea that I can have some things that maybe have a higher tier thing. But currently I'm at the point where I'm going to have a 3-book set, a 3-zine set, things like that. That does help with the campaigns raising more money, and also when I reach new people, because I have to presume every campaign is half people who've never seen anything, maybe 2/3 people who've never seen what I'm doing.
I'm trying to brainstorm what you could add that's not expensive, that makes sense.
Well, currently I'm looking at dice. Looking at dice. But there's also a thing where it's like, don't people have enough dice?
But people love dice.
Yeah,
I'm actually working on, I was working, one of the administrative things I was working was the dice for the 4D20. But what if
You met someone at Gamehole Con who makes dice? Did you?
Yeah.
Is that where you're?
I haven't talked to them yet. I've just been doing more research on what I want and how to get it done before. So when I go to this person, I can say, rather than say, hey, how do you make this dice? I could say, okay, apparently this is how you make the dice. Can you do it? Is what I'm.
Right. And I know there's a lot of different ways to do that. Some people have inclusions in there, like it's a resin die that has something floating in there. There's some people who have like a special color pattern to the dice. The font can be unique. I know, but apparently if the font is unique and it's embedded in some way, then it's a unique mold. And so there's a casting, there's a mold cost.
Yeah.
And if it's just going to be, there's some companies that will just print instead of they'll replace the 20. It's not embossed in any way. I think it's simply
painted on there like screen printed or like.
Yeah. And they'll replace the 20 with whatever symbol you have. That seems to be the low cost, super cheap option.
Yeah. And so, I mean, but for the 4D20, I just wanted, a cannabis leaf for the 20.
I figured it's
and that die exists out there already. I'm just trying to find a design that I like of it. And then maybe just say, hey, you make this. I just need these. How much will they cost?
Right.
Since you already make them. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, rather than reinvent the wheel.
Right.
If I could just say, hey, how much would a bulk of cannabis D20s cost me?
Right. And you don't need any other size die, right? You just need the good news is you'll immediately be you sell 100 copies of the game. That's 400 die. You're already going to reach your minimum manufacturing requirement pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and that's a stretch goal. Get four of these die, So I'm working on, there's a lot of things I need. At work, my day job, I work with a lovely young lady who I notoriously tease and pick on and have fun with all day. But that's just my nature. But I keep promising her when I'm rich and famous, I'll just hire her as my assistant. I need her now to help me with all this stuff. But yeah.
What tasks would you assign to this person? Like right now, would you say, okay, look up this D20 thing for me, figure out these?
Well, look at that. I was just going to say, this person's bothering us with this message about promotional channel viewers and stuff. I need a social media manager, right?
Right. Well, maybe this person's volunteering. That's fantastic.
I don't think so. I think that person wants me to send them $400 to give me a bunch of bot followers, but that's just my guess. And I don't need any bot followers because they'll rise up against me, and that'll be the demise. But no, I mean, I would be doing so much better with my things if I was just on social media more and doing that. But then that takes away from the creating aspect, which,
Would you be doing better if you were on social media more? I feel like every time I'm on social media, I feel like I should be on it less. Like,
not doom scrolling, but having my, getting more ads out there. If I need a TikTok, I don't do the TikTok, Steve. Do you do the TikTok?
I do not do the TikTok.
The kids do the TikTok. They love the TikTok. And in fact, at my job, we started advertising on my day job. They started advertising on the TikTok, and we'd make so many sales through the TikTok now.
I got to get on the TikTok then, Dan.
Get on the TikTok and tell me how it's done.
I'm not going to do that. I say that now. Like, what's an Emmy award? Who knows? And then 6 months, I'll be like all over the thing. I have enough to do. I have to pack up orders. Maybe I've been meaning to look into it. I was at Heroes Con, not last year, but the year before. A artist was saying, "Oh, you have to be on there. Just show your work. Just show the books and things like that."
Yeah, I mean, if you were to just do, like, I watch your streams, and if you were to do little clips of your sculpting and your illustrating and stuff like that, throw those up there, and you would get tons of followers.
It's such a weird thing. You post on social media, and then you're checking throughout the day. How'd it do? That's how I feel about it. Like, I got to check in. How did that do? Like, I can't I want to set and forget. Like, I want it to be a thing where, where I'm not hungry for approval. It's weird. It's a weird beast. But who knows? Maybe I should do it. I'm on the The Blue Sky as well. I rarely post there.
I know I keep forgetting the Blue Sky because the Blue Sky app looks like my weather app on my phone. So,
right.
And then there's the Threads.
Right.
And as much as I hate the X/Twitter, the Twitter was my favorite back in the day.
Who knows? It could come back. It could be a thing. It's like LinkedIn. Who knows? I thought LinkedIn was like, dead forever. And then that's like Classmates, Friendster, MySpace. They'll all come back. Who knows?
Oh, GeoCities.
Yeah. Yeah. But the social media part of it is I don't know. I'd much rather build the Kickstarter and build the mailing list. I feel like that's the way to go. But maybe maybe TikTok is a thing. To me, what I've heard is that TikTok often gives you much like your average run-of-the-mill drug dealer will salt of the earth people who will give you a little bump for free to start with, encourage you, maybe a little discount. And so what you do is you go on their system and they'll really promote you, and you kind of get that endorphin rush. They get get a taste for it. And then after that, it's like they lower the amount that they give you, and you're chasing that. And it's logical as a business practice. The dealers have found that to work excellently. The drug companies have found that to be a perfect plan. So no surprise that the algorithms will do that as well. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to wait till something like launching the next Kickstarter. In which case, okay, if the first few things I post, they're going to artificially bump, then I want to make sure that it's worth it. To me, it's like on Facebook right now, the nasty thing they've added is @everyone and @highlight. So if you put in your post I think is it everyone?
I think so.
Or @highlight, everyone who's friends with you and follows you gets tagged or some such. It appears in their notification feed, blocked immediately. Or you do it once and I let you slide. You do it more than once, I gotta unfollow you. I can't have this thing beeping all the time with like notifications. So the idea that people will do this indiscriminately, it's just the most obnoxious thing in the world. So it's like, keep your powder dry. Just wait till you see the whites of their eyes, that kind of thing. Like really hold off before you abuse that system. Have something to promote for sure. Launch the Kickstarter, launch the Patreon special offer, or I don't know, the birth of a child. Save it for something goddamn serious and not.
Yeah, I got invited to an artist event in Ottawa, Canada.
Are you going to go?
I can't make it.
Yeah. How many notifications before you go unfollow?
Right. It's not a wise.
It's poisoned, and so I feel like it's.
I think what I did was immediately mute for 30 days.
So they'll keep spamming, and it's just a terrible thing. It's like when we promote our Kickstarters on Facebook and other things like that. If we're going to say that, if you ever have to repeat yourself, you're doing it wrong. If you ever, hey, my Kickstarter's going, check it out. Hey, my Kickstarter's going, check it out. Isn't that like, that's everyone on the subway going like, nope. Don't make eye contact.
But I have also read and a research, and I don't have the receipts to back it up, but it takes someone 7 times to see something before it registers.
Right. But you should say 7 different things.
Yeah.
You should say, here's, and that's one of the things, like one of the easiest things for us to do as creators is to say, it's like when they announce the book deal. Hey, I got a book deal for my book. It's going to come out in 2 years' time. And people go, yay, congratulations on your book. And now you've got the endorphin rush of the excitement and all the upvotes and the congratulations. And now the work begins. And it's that sort of thing where if you have to say different things every single time. So it's hard for me not to just blurt out the thing I'm working on right now, because if I blurt it out, if I tell people all the things I'm working on with Metadomain, I'll have nothing to talk about when the campaign starts. So when the campaign starts, then I'm going to be like, okay, here's the level 8 ability of the cleric. I'm pretty excited about it. Or here's a piece of artwork that you haven't seen before. I'm pretty excited about it. Or I love how this came together, how this thing turned out. So being able to have that Kickstarter coming soon page and work on these things in front of people has helped to build up that audience. But I've only mentioned it to the Intoximancy supporters once. You'd think, badger them. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Every time the Kickstarter notification on your phone pops up, it's someone else. Oh, it's the worst when a person who you've backed multiple projects and suddenly in every single one of the projects they've ever done, they post an update within minutes of each other, and your phone just lights up with 10 notifications from somebody like, hey, a new project's launched. Hey, a new project's launched. This copy and paste stuff, awful. It's I know it burns not to have the flood of subscriptions or the flood of supporters, but damn it, pace yourself, people. That would be the social media takeaway from promoting something is pace yourself and really never repeat yourself. Find a way. It's always the same thing. It's always buy my book. And for God's sakes, don't befriend anybody while during a campaign. You get those on Facebook. Hey, would you like to be my friend? I'm running a Kickstarter campaign right now. Like, no. I will respond in 31 days.
I mean, crowdfunding has become such a norm in this industry, but yet I just don't like, like we're talking about the promoting it and the fulfilling, and there's ever so many things about it I just don't like. I hopefully I just want it quietly, maybe not even quietly, with some fanfare. Here it is. It's now, go get it.
What about you? You did the Fluff and Crunch episode, which I liked, and you haven't done that again. I thought that was you kind of doing what I'm doing with, like, here's the process that I'm willing to share.
That's coming back. That's probably what I'm going to do on Sunday mornings now that you and I have switched to Saturdays.
Excellent.
Yeah. That's definitely coming back because I've got all sorts of fun things. Like, here's something, I've got my Warren hold, my big city, because I got to get my patron going. I got to get little things up there. I worked on the Sword and Board Tavern this week. I worked with a friend of mine. I got my two best friends from second grade who I played Dungeons and Dragons with originally. One of them, the three of us are on a chat on our phones all the time, just a continuous thing. Now, I've known these people for 48 years now. And one of them said, my DM's moving away, sad face, And then another one said, yeah, I haven't spent so long since I played. I'd like to do it, the face-to-face is fun, but maybe we've got to figure out a way to do it online. And then the other one said, yeah, it's doable. There's virtual tabletops, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just watching them pretty much talk about how much they want to play D&D again online, to where I just replied, fine, I am a professional dungeon master anyway, let's do it. Because I knew that's what they were doing. It just took them all this time just to, say, hey, Dan, DM for us. So I'm going to use those two suckers to explore Warrenhold.
Excellent.
So as I create stuff for their game, I can move it over, to the Warrenhold finally thing. So that's one of the things I'm going to be working on. And they have no idea. I don't even know if I told them I'm going to stream it yet, but I might stream it yet. Who knows? And I apologize for keep touching my nose. It's sinuses, and I feel like I look like a coke fiend right now. Drawing lines on my desk.
Political unindicted co-conspirator. No, no, I had noticed. But that's exciting. I like that. I love that you'll be playing some more, because I know you had your Friday night games at the local
game shop.
Yeah,
but that just wasn't the effort to put into getting that together wasn't paying off in the way I wanted to pay off. And that sounds shitty, rather than I just want to play games. Well, I can't just play games when I'm creating as well. They've got to benefit each other.
Yeah, more than just the experience of it, because I'm certain that some of that stuff that happened in that game shop made you better at dungeon mastering in front of the crowd, gave you more, because I see that with a lot of improv people, is that they're once they get a cue that's anything like what they've ever had to deal with before, they can immediately just start plugging in pieces that they've already established. They've already figured out. Colbert will return to things that I just know are his easy go-tos whenever something triggers something. And I feel like the more experience we have, it's like that one time playing on stage with you at Gamehole Con. It's like, oh, okay, all the experience from that is going to plug into other things that I do, and so I'm certain that that experience in the game shop will pay some dividends. But I can understand it would be diminishing returns after a while.
Yeah, because I like, I don't want to go in and give everybody half-assed game, but what I was DMing for these people necessarily did not fit into, say, Catacombs and Comedians.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, I got to work that out. So that material.
Catacombs and Comedians presents Catacombs and Cretins. That we're gonna have.
Catacombs and Comedians presents Catacombs and Customers at the game store.
Catacombs and Commoners. Yeah, I like it.
So I'm going to utilize my two buddies, Clay and Ron, to help me flesh out Warrenhold, and just, I'll just start, here's a tavern on my Patreon that these guys went in Warrenhold. Here's this alley. Here's this. And then when I collect enough of it, I'll put it all together and throw it up as something, a Warrenhold gazetteer with some, 4 or 5 locations from the Warrenhold. And then eventually, 13 years from now, it'll be this huge tome for you to go through.
That's nice. And then you can have something to hand out at Gamehole Con. That got me thinking about at Gamehole Con. One of the things I regretted doing was I would walk around, but I didn't have copies of Intoximancy with me. I need kind of a bag. I need a shoulder bag that I can just have that stuff on me, where I'm not walking around with stacks of my books in my hand where it looks like I'm handing out literature. Mm-hmm. I need to have it in a bag on my. So I need a shoulder bag to. It's weird stuff like that you don't know until you're actually at the convention. Was there anything that you felt like you were missing? I mean, apart from having your own zines, was there something you felt like you were missing at the Gamehole Con, or are you going to bring with you next time?
I don't think so. I mean, I actually bought myself a new messenger bag for Gamehole Con, so that's the bag I had, because I took a backpack to Gen Con, and it was just too much hassle to pull things out of a backpack to
the shoulder and
hand out with the message bag. I was there. You go.
That's awesome.
So you're right there. So it's trial and learn how to to do this stuff. And I think my one of my mini stumbling blocks, it's amazing I walk at all, is I come up. I got so many different things. I got to consolidate, here, this is for Catacombs and Comedians, and then this is for my zine, and then this is for Zero Level Media, and then this is for okay, you got those 12 things. Okay, that's me.
Right. Yeah, I talk about this, but I don't. Do you know Tom Zoller?
Yeah,
Tom has got the same. He has capes.
Love and Capes. He's got Cupid's Arrows. He's got all these various projects, and they're like, what do you advertise, and what's the brand of it all? I mean, it was nice when Astounding Space Thrills, my sci-fi thing, when it was just that, or the Middle Age, just that. I'm doing my best to put slap the Middle Age logo on all my RPG books and guide people back. At least conceptually, it's part of the same world, right? It's all world. Even if there's no card throwing rogues in the Middle Age yet. But there's no reason why, when there's a tavern, there's not going to be someone playing cards in the corner. They have to throw that in some fashion. But the idea of just trying to have a consistent brand, whether it's just the Tom Zoller brand, the Dan Taylor brand, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Is Zero Level Media is great, but Dan Taylor is the kind of, that's that'll be the title of the tombstone before you put the. I mean, because originally Catacombs and Comedians fell under Zero Level Media,
right?
And then when that whole debacle with the open gaming license and all that stuff, and the threat of not being able to do, I still want to do stuff. So that's Zero Level. I took Catacombs Comedians out of Zero Level. Zero Level is still, but then that all got worked out. So now I'll fold Catacombs Comedians back into Zero Level Media. It's all a pain, and who knows?
It's interesting that you have them. So I didn't even notice. Is the Zero Level Media, that logo's not on the Catacombs and Comedians stuff, is it?
It's on some of the earlier show posters.
Okay.
And like the earlier videos, it says Zero Level Media presents Catacombs and Comedians. But not on any of my not on any like the pouches or the badges or anything like that.
Yeah, that's tough. It is like a thing where, Critical Role has Darrington Press now. They've got all their various things, but it's still Critical Role is the key thing. It feels like Catacombs and Comedians presents Catacombs and Creative. Catacombs and Comedians seems like your top brand. That Zero Level Media might be part of that. That's how I feel about these things. I'm not sure if that's how you see it.
Because it all comes down to getting asses in the seats at comedy clubs,
right?
With Catacombs Comedians, and if I say Zero Level Media, come see Zero Level Media. No, nothing.
And it doesn't. And it also it's not that it doesn't have that simplicity of Intoximancy or Snakes on a Plane, where you have like what's it about?
Yeah,
what's Zero Level Media about? Like.
But I just don't want to do Catacombs and Comedians. That's my,
right.
Because Warrenhold won't be Catacombs and Comedians. It's more of a traditional D&D setting. It won't be all goofy and, silly. Because I still want to do, my post-apocalyptic cryptid, is not Catacombs and Comedians.
Right. So all that stuff falls under Zero Level Media.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's hard. It's hard to be a creative genius, Steve.
Yeah, apparently, I had no idea. I am thankfully not saddled with that problem.
And humble at the same time.
You balance those nicely.
Thank you.
I don't know how you. Tom was trying something new at the latest convention he was at. He sent me a photograph where he has like signage about it was heroes, like stories with heart or something like that. Like he was basically trying to have the thread of like almost like a tagline that could be applied to all the different projects he has. So I'm wondering if there's a but there isn't really, because Catacombs Comedians is such a unique thing and such a, like I've said, lightning in a bottle thing. Whereas the other things, they don't feel like they have your full attention sometimes, at the way Catacombs and Comedian has. Like Catacombs and Comedian is like, okay, you're like, I've got this thing. It's awesome. It's going to work entirely. And it's front burnered for you. Whereas some of the other things you've done, you've been like, okay, this is over here on the back burner, and I'll pay attention to you, from time to time, but it's not the thing. And especially seeing you at Catacombs and Creators at Gamehole Con, you're like, you reel in this trunk of stuff. It's like Apocalyptid's not going to have a trunk.
No,
you know what I mean? It's just sort of the investment and the production and how spectacular it was. I mean that in the real sense, like not just as praise, but as a spectacle.
Yeah, the pyrotechnics and the smoke machine and
the props. No, you're exaggerating, but seriously, it was on the stage with the gorgeous backdrop that Gofton had set up, that Tommy Gofton had set up, and we're all mic'd, and you've created placards with cartoon characters, everybody, and there's potion bottles and inspiration ships, and you've got your fez. Seriously, it was a production, and it showed. Here's the free posters for people in cars. Dude, it was spectacular. And I just, no matter what I think Apocalyptid is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see it. I cannot.
Yeah, but that's going to be, I think that's just going to be a one and done.
But it just doesn't require all that.
Yeah.
It's like you did a halftime show, and then this is your half-hour TV special. That I think Apocalyptid is going to be like, like The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. It's going to be a thing where it'll be like people want to return to this often and for maybe forever, but it's not the halftime show. It's just two different beasts, and you've somehow created a halftime show. I don't know how you did it, but it's awesome.
And then 4D20, I think, is going to be something
right.
Special. Yeah.
That's people going back and watching Idiocracy every year, or Super Troopers, or something like that. It's going to be a thing where if these things have a way of surviving, and like this is going to do great on VHS,
especially when I get Cheech and Chong to play.
Right.
Catacombs and Comedians presents 4D20 system with Cheech and Chong.
Catacombs and Comedians presents Cheech and Chong, Catacombs and Comedians with
a zero level production.
Zero
level media production. Yeah. See, I mean, because right here on Mazes and Muses at the bottom of the screen, it says Zero Level Media. So Mazes and Muses is Zero Level Media product.
Part of the Zero Level Media family.
Yeah.
The suite of products.
Yes. And it's on all the Zero Level Media channels.
Do you okay? How about this part? Redesigning my website. Part of the thing is it's
putting a Zero Level Media.
Oh God, everywhere. No, I'm not allowed to legally. I heard from legal, and they said I can't. But but the idea being that how much do you want to present yourself as a corporation? How much do you want to present yourself as a studio? Do you want to use the we language? This is what we're doing versus this is what I'm doing as Dan Taylor. Isn't that people like that it's one guy? People like that it's an individual creating this stuff. Because when Star Marshals is late and it's Dan, when Death Dealing takes a while to deliver and it is late and it's Steve, it's a different thing than when it's MCDM, when it's a real company, when it's not just some schlep in his second bedroom. People are more forgiving, and I think people are more excited about supporting the little guy versus once you're the man, then people are like, no, you're fine. You don't need our help. You don't. Is there a balance there? Is there a concern there? Am I just overthinking things? Well, am I just underthinking?
You always overthink it. I think.
But I don't know. Is there something to that?
To a point, I think you're right. But I also it's just one guy. It's an amateur. He's not.
That's a diminishing quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Good. A lot of people have sent nice words about Intoximancy and Death Dealing, and it said that yeah, you guys did a great job. I get that a lot. I get that you guys.
I mean, sometimes even when my stuff, sometimes say, we want to thank you, and then sometimes I'm like, I want to thank you. I keep switching between my narratives of whether or not I'm a personnel company or just one guy with his two dogs.
The CE0 of Zero Level Media. Yeah. That's the idea of, let me run this by legal. Let me run this by, and by that I mean my cat.
Yeah, I got to go up to the 4th floor and check with HR. Yeah.
You check out the. I'm gonna run this up the. I don't know, the cat post. I got nothing.
So, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, and that's probably why I don't know. I hate doing it so much, as I'm just one guy. But then I would hate to. I'm such a control freak. I can't do it with multiple people.
It's so interesting. I have so many creative friends who are like that. Who are like, but you've done the toughest thing. You've gotten things done. It's so hard.
But I've started a lot more than I've finished.
Yeah, but but you've planted seeds that you haven't harvested yet. I feel like that's a different thing, and I think that's a probably healthier way of looking at it. Just because it's not done doesn't mean it can't be done. The fact that you've been finishing things along the way, Star Marshals, all the things you put up on Drive-Thru RPG and the DMs Guild, all the things that you've done, all the live productions of Catacombs and Comedians and Catacombs and Creators. I mean, forget it. Catacombs and Creator, amazing, dude. That exists. That is a thing, and you made it, and that is a shocking accomplishment. The idea that so many people have things that are 50% done, 95% done, so close to being done, but just not there, not hatched, and they're just this concept, creator of nothing. I almost created something. That's what it comes down to. If it's not done, it's almost done. It's almost there. It almost exists, but it doesn't. And the people who talk about the things that are almost done, that's the toughest thing for me. It's like,
see, now you figured out the meaning of Zero Level Media.
What is that meaning?
I'm zero level.
Well, I absolutely feel like that about, we talked about how you're going to run the world and all that stuff. I'm like a level 2, level 1 commoner. I feel like that is very much a healthy perspective. Like the idea that you can become level 20, that you can level up, that you can become these things.
Actually, you want to know the true meaning of Zero Level Media?
Yeah.
I've got the numeral 0, so I'm higher on the list when you look down a list of
alphabetically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
I always like that. Mike Ulrich's company, AAA Pop was the name of his publishing company. So he'd be the first in the catalog.
Yeah.
Like ahead of Aardvark Van Heim. But there's something to just the idea that completing things is the toughest thing for anybody to do. I'm certain that the people who watch my YouTube videos about, promoting your webcomic and doing webcomics and stuff like that, 95% of them published one episode. And that was it. Someone creates one thing and spends 10 months promoting the one thing they created instead of spending 10 months building the next thing.
Yeah. It's a tough trap to fall into, and I've been guilty of it myself. So,
but you're knocking it out of the park now.
Well, hopefully soon. Here's the 2024, right?
D&D fame on the horizon.
Yeah, I'm gonna just to be D&D famous. That's all. I'm still waiting for my email from Chris Perkins saying, "Come on out to Washington. We got to talk."
Or it could be a thing where you find yourself on the mailing list for goodies, or then they have the next creator summit. Who knows? Maybe you get brought in on board for that sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, and then, yeah, okay, good talk. Did you see that they're having the D&D channels starting to take off on Freevee?
No.
Yeah, they've got three programs that's going to start in 2 weeks on on the new D&D channel. One's that Kill Faster Purple Worm.
Oh yeah, okay.
The other is another actual play more serious one, and then there's their D&D cooking show.
Are those licensed Dungeons and Dragons? Those are Hasbro productions?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Are Hasbro endorsed?
Okay. Because is it a thing where they've licensed it, or is it a thing where
I didn't go that far into the research. That's your job.
That's what your assistant's going to do.
Oh, didn't I tell you? You're my new assistant, Conley.
Oh, you're in trouble.
Intern. No, but yeah, so I guess they'll start in 3 weeks, and they're going to be like, each show is going to be on 2 times a week. And these are the first 3 shows. But I guess the plan is to throw the animated cartoon series up there too. And, Amazon is the producer of the upcoming Dungeons and Dragons live action show. So the D&D channel's on the way. And from what I've been hearing on headlines, is D&D's the only real moneymaker at Hasbro right now. So.
Yeah, they were talking about how WotC, how Magic the Gathering is kind of, I don't know, everything ends. Everything ends. So
except D&D.
Yeah, because it keeps hopefully it keeps reinventing itself. Okay, last thing I'll do, because we leave here. Going to GameholeCon, one of the things that I'll save it for next week. We're running out of time, and we're always hungry for content. But I'll see you here next Saturday, Dan.
You will see me here next Saturday, I believe, as far as I know. I mean, unless Katie tells me I got something else going on. But I think Jean Louise started acting classes on Saturday mornings. That's where they're at now. So my Saturday mornings are open.
That's awesome. So how's the this time working for you? Yeah,
this time's beautiful.
Yeah, for some reason I have way more energy. I don't know why. On Sunday mornings, I'm like, "What's that, Dan?"
And it doesn't interfere with my football. So
yes, yeah. So the where can people find you on the socials? Where can they find the Zero Level Media CEO, Chairman?
Well, there is a pathetic Zero Level Media presence on Twitter and Facebook, so you can follow, check that out, or you can just follow Catacombs and Catacomedians, CATOCOMEDIANS, because Catacombs and Comedians is more than 15 characters long, so that didn't fit. So it's Catacomedian, and I call it the Catacomedia verse. So everything's got to be a verse or a multi thing. So
it has to be branded.
Yeah,
everything has to be a brand.
So Catacombs and Comedians, and if you're following the Zero Level Media on Facebook, Twitch, and our YouTube, it's a step in the right direction already. And
soon TikTok.
And the TikTok.
Folks can find me on the Twitter. That's what it's called. And if you go to twitter.com/TheSteveConley, I'm also on the Facebook, and I'm on Blue Sky, and if Twitch here. at twitch.tv/Steve Conley. But you can find out all about Prayer's Handbook, my upcoming project. And you can still order Death Dealing at deathdealing.com and Intoximancy at intoximancy.com.
God, you own almost as many domain names as I do.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, when I know what a project is, like the next Zine Quest project, because the Zine Quest is 4 months away. I immediately get the domain name just for simplicity's sake. I will regret it at some point. One of them will lapse and point to adult content, and I will kick myself. It should have always been Steve Conley /Intoximancy. Steve Conley. I should stop myself.
But then I will probably click on it more.
Yeah.
When it is adult content.
Yeah. So it's for you. I do these things.
I appreciate it. All right, folks. We're going to sign off for this morning, get back to what the stuff we were working on. And everybody out there, you, and especially you, may you make all your saving throws.